and jobs in the economy and fair bidding. Joining us on the Lawn Man Capital line, good friend of mine, working with a conglomerate, I'll use this word, of project labor agreement efforts through initiative and controlling these things. Eric Christen joins us now. Eric, this is a great concern going forward. By the way, welcome to 1380, but we're hearing more and more about these PLAs going forward with the arena, which means one thing: we're going to take the private sector and tell them to get away from the arena, right?
Yeah, and just in case people didn't think there was enough bureaucracy and government involved in the remarketing California, we have. And Eric, thanks for having us on. Good to be here. I appreciate it.
Well, for folks listening, let's do this. And I was hurried to get to our segment here. You're representing what group, and there are one or two initiatives here that you're trying to move along for our attention surrounding the arena?
Good questions. I'm representing Fair and Open Competition Sacramento. We are in the process of qualifying two signatures, one for the city of Sacramento, one for the county of Sacramento, that will add to the charters of each entity the novel and some might say unheard of idea that all workers and contractors that are qualified and able to produce a good product should have an opportunity to work on taxpayer-funded projects, be they union or non-union, and not be forced to, as a condition of employment, pay into union pension plans, union benefit plans, pay union dues, have to be hired through the union hiring hall. We don't think there's a place for that. Increased costs reduces by reducing bidders, and so we are bringing these to the voters. And so things like the arena can go forward at a much better, get a much better product at a much better cost.
And once again, it's real simple. I mean, if we're talking about public money on the table, there should be some type of expectation that it's spent wisely and that every company within the region has a chance to get that job and to do that labor, right?
Yeah, again, it's a novel concept to some. Some believe that it's either my way or the highway, and they're kind of stuck in this 1930s mentality of everyone should belong to our group, and if you don't, you're somehow less of a human being or less of a worker. It's an unfortunate worldview, but it's a minority worldview, and I represent union and non-union companies who believe that the lowest responsible bidder on taxpayer-funded projects should get the work. So, for instance, on the arena, we're looking at an estimated cost of $387 million, let's say. Well, a PLA, if what we're talking about is an agreement like a PLA that forces workers to do everything that I just mentioned earlier, you're looking at a cost that would really be about $450 million when you have companies like Rexmore Electrical Contractors and Engineers, for instance, that was quoted in the Bee yesterday. Largest electrical, be it union or non-union, largest electrical contractor in the region, 800 employees, big company, been here for, I think, going on 100 years now. These guys simply would not bid the arena project if a PLA was placed on it. So that shows you what would happen if you follow that down the line in the various trades. If you have these people that are local, employing local workers, not bidding the work, not being part of that potential bid pool, common sense, as well as what numerous studies have shown and empiricism has shown and anecdotal evidence has shown, you get higher costs.
So when we talk about, all right, thumbs up on an arena, and we all agree that it's going to cost $350, $380 million, you're saying that if we don't have open bidding and fair contracts surrounding this thing, we could be, cost overruns could be $150, maybe more $1 million, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at what I've noticed in the past, having done this for 12 years and fighting for fair and open competition throughout California, representing my union and non-union contractors. What I've found is that you're looking at usually anywhere from a 15 to a 30% premium being attached to any project that they cover. Wow. Here in the area, we have current projects that are under threat of these types of discriminatory agreements include, the rail yards development, the Placer Vineyards specific plan out in Placer County, the new wastewater treatment facility that's about a $2 billion job that they're looking to do here in the county. In the past, you've had, SMUD, the Sacramento Municipal Utility District, the Sac City Unified School District. They've moved forward with PLAs. You've had, a lot of various PLA threats and these union-only types of agreement threats. We've defeated a number of them, but they're always out there. So what we've decided to do is we've come together as taxpayers, as workers, as apprentices, as employees, and we've decided to take the decision-making process out of the hands of elected officials and put it into the hands of voters. And where we've done this around the state by putting forth these open competition initiatives, we've won, for instance, in San Diego County last November, 76-24. When was the last time you saw the public, 76% of them agree on anything, especially with the unions opposing you, but we did it here.
No, and they understand this. What about the argument, Eric, that, well, yeah, there's going to be more cost involved, but there's more quality involved, that if you go with union labor, you're going to pay more, but you get more in the end. You get better work, faster work, more quality work on the other side, and I say that with my without laughing and my tongue firmly planted in my cheek here.
Right, and there will be sunshine and peace on earth. Yeah, what's interesting about proponents of these exclusionary agreements is that it guarantees just about everything under the sun that's good and precludes everything from bad from happening. Unfortunately, there's something called reality that intrudes upon these fanciful suppositions, and the reality just isn't there. Look, you and I can argue, and I could have Bagel North, who was in the paper yesterday talking about how great PLAs are. We could all argue that I'm doing, that these are bad or these are good. The reality is that every day workers in this state get up and freely choose to work in the environment of their choice in the construction industry, as in the private sector. Yep. 80% of them in the Sacramento region, over 80%, choose to wake up and go to work in a union-free construction environment. That's their choice. We should not, as a condition of employment on taxpayer-funded projects, be dictating because we think that my group is better. Should we be forcing them to adhere to our worldview? And so we're standing with what we think are the vast majority of workers, taxpayers, and just common sense in mandating that open competition be the law of the land in the city and the county.
That's quite a stat, Eric, too. And if we would build an arena, then we would limit the scope of who could get the jobs to just 20% of the labor workers in the region.
It's remarkable that this type of thing, I describe this to people who are a little bit, new to this, and it's an arcane issue. I understand that this isn't something people wake up and go to bed thinking about, but when you describe it to them, when it's something that's suddenly, being discussed like it is going to be now for the next year, exactly a year until the next June election when we're going to have these on the ballot, I describe these to people and they go, well, that's not really legal, is it? I mean, you can't really do that, can you? Force workers to have to pay union dues and go through a union hiring hall and pay into union pension plans they'll never benefit from? Mm-hmm. And I say, yes, it absolutely is legal, and it's outrageous, and it's why, we really have to stay vigilant when it comes to, and this transcends the construction industry, we really have to stay vigilant when it comes to protecting, really the concept of individual freedom, of individual autonomy, for workers to be viewed as individuals and not part of a collective. And if they're not part of that collective and not part of the quote-unquote in-group, which in California we know what that in-group is or what those in-groups are, you're going to get punished. And that's just, it's ahistorical, it's un-American, and we're going to end it here in the Sacramento region with the voter support.
Yeah, and I love the education you're offering too, Eric, because a lot of arguments, I mentioned quality, somebody else may say, well, if you embrace the PLA, it ensures that there'll be no strikes or work stoppages. No, it's just the opposite. It will assure that if indeed there's a problem, there will be strikes and work stoppages.
If you say, Eric, that's an interesting point because you always hear this from PLA proponents. If you hear that you do a PLA and that's a way to avoid strikes, is that an implicit threat that but for a PLA there's going to be strikes and work stoppages? And doesn't that offend you?
It does. It does. I mean,
really?
and it's ignorant too at its core. It's like, no, hold on a second. The private sector comes in and agrees to the job and to the price and signs the contract and does the job.
It's getting to the whole, we're getting to issues that are in the news now, and not to get off on a tangent, but, it's the whole Boeing situation right now. People are going to look to work, and they want to conduct business in a way that there aren't these threats of strikes and slowdowns, and then you have the heavy hand of government coming in going, no, you can't do that because we think, workers should be able to do that. But here, what we're finding is that even with the promise of no strikes under what are commonly referred to as project labor agreements, they still have strikes. San Francisco International Airport was built under a PLA. It had multiple strikes. Yeah. So workers under the National Labor Relations Act can strike. There's nothing that can preclude them from striking. It's part of the rights that a union worker has. So that's really a selling point. That really doesn't hold water anyway. But again, getting to our point is we just want to codify into the Sacramento County and city charters the regal and in some cases novel concept that you can't be forced to join a group as a condition of employment. And we think it's a strong argument.
Let's give some directives for folks that are listening. Once again, fair and open competition. Is there a website, Eric, a place where they can sign up to help the initiatives? Help us out here.
Yes, fair and is Andy, fair and open competition Sacramento. We know it's a mouthful, but that's what we want. .com. Fair and open competition Sacramento.com. We know that the listeners to the Eric Hogue Show know how to spell. They are literate. They are numerate, and therefore they can spell those words out. Fair and open competition Sacramento.com. We have now begun. We filed our notice of intent. We'll be on the street in a couple of weeks collecting signatures. We need about 100,000 of them, Eric. Mm-hmm. And we will be bringing this to the people of the city and county of Sacramento in June of 2012.
I tell you what, we'll stay close, give updates, and talk about this as we journey on, because it's something that has to be done. Has to be done, buddy.
Thank you so much, Eric. Look forward to being on, and if you can, I'd love to. And I know our side, whoever it is, be it proponents or myself or workers or contractors, we'd love to come on and argue against and debate this with people who think that exclusion and discrimination should be the law of the land. So
I tell you what, that's a deal.
To do that as well.
That's a made-for-radio programming nugget right there. That is a deal. We'll schedule that and do it. We'll stay on top of this. Eric, always good to talk to you. And by the way, happy Father's Day to you.
And you too. Yes. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you once again. Appreciate it. Folks, go check it out. Go to Fair and Open Competition, Fair and Open SacramentoCompetition.com. I'm going to put this on my Twitter, on my Facebook. We'll make sure you get all the nuggets, all the details, and get involved. It's an effort that must be done going forward, especially now when we're talking about the arena. A little break here, 6 minutes away from 1 o'clock, 12:50.